Call the council meeting to order, and with in addition to the department reports, point 5 for water department report and Carly Terrace report. As an addition, do I have a motion to the agenda? Councillor Campbell. Councillor Bailey seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest, if any. None noted. Moving on to the Reeves report. At the Huron County Municipal Officers meeting on Friday, talking to Gord Heinrich from the DM Robichaux and Associates Limited. They do a lot of no-dig sewer work. And I said that I was from Wingham. He said, we have one of your people from Wingham doing a job for us in Toronto right now. And Huron Geometrics, he said, in locating things, they have the best equipment in the province. So that when you get consulting engineers and ones in that business stating that you have some of the best in the province, I took that as quite a accolade for having that service in Wingham. Also, in moving along with the getting things for the 2014 Wingham Homecoming going, there's a Jimmy Keys concert the 24th of May at the Wingham Legion. And the tickets are $30 a piece, and that I think that it should be a very good show that he has opened for Willie Nelson, Tom Jones, Huey Lewis, Winona Judd. But he has a local connection with his wife originally being from Harriston. So that that will be at the Legion the 24th of May, and the ones organizing it would like to have things all figured out, hoping to have the tickets sold by the 26th or 27th of April. Council members or staff, I have some tickets so that they can get them from me if they want. Also, these pamphlets will be given out at the brochure swap, and it's Undiscovered Gardens in Huron and Perth. I find it very interesting that the Alice Munro Garden across the street is listed as #1 in it. That I believe there's 3 others from North Huron listed. These pamphlets will be more numerous in the future. And another really good news story out of the Hometown Hockey magazine. I'm not sure whether I get the page quickly or not. But Justin Peters, there's a 2.5 page article on him. And also we were talking about culture in Huron County, but I will say in Huron Bruce, on a per capita basis, we produce more pro hockey players than any other place that I know of. There's a lot of fine young hockey players in the American Hockey League, more local ones being drafted every year, so I think that's good news. Moving on to reading of the minutes of the previous meeting, April 2nd. Deputy Reeve Reach and Councillor Bodden. All in favor? Carried. Um, Deputations, petitions, invited guests. We move to presentation of service awards.
Okay. Thank you, Reeve. Tonight we're very pleased to provide service awards to several of our North Huron employees to recognize them for their outstanding service to North Huron residents. North Huron staff provide high quality and a high quantity of programs and services to our residents. And our staff are knowledgeable, they're hardworking, they're helpful, they're knowledgeable, and they're committed to making a difference in the community. So tonight I'm pleased to recognize the following employees for their outstanding service. For 5 years of service, Connie Goodall, Economic Development Officer, Denise Lockie, Recreation, Clerical and Marketing Assistant, Don Nicholson, Utility Chief Operator, Mark Nesbitt, Utility Operator, Bruce Bromley, Utility Operator, and celebrating 15 years of outstanding service to North Huron, Scott Price, Public Works Road Foreman. Tonight we have Don Nicholson and Scott Price and Denise Lockie.
Come on, Denise.
Denise, thank you. Congratulations.
Press one, individual or group picture? Group. Okay.
I'll take an individual though.
Okay, if you don't mind. Get right in there, all right. Good.
Scott, thanks very much. Congratulations, Scott, thanks.
Getting in there too, Kelly?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yep. Thank you.
Don, thank you.
Get a group photo, maybe? You guys can jump in the big one. You want it up there? Gary, I think we'd like to do the photo up there. Press the button.
Just don't need to worry about exit signs growing out of people's heads and stuff. All the girls tell you what to do. Just give us one. Go ahead. Great.
Please do so. 1, 2, 3, there we go. Thank you.
2 and 3. And 1, 2 and 3.
Okay, moving to department reports. We should have a motion to adopt the 2013 the 2013 Occupational Health and Safety Policy Statement and Terms of Reference. Do we have a motion? Councillor Campbell. Oh, Councillor Hallahan.
I have a comment.
Comment?
I'd just like to point out that the word "we" is used throughout a lot of our human resource policies, and I don't think it's appropriate. Like when we read phrases like, "we have the right to adjust your payments," it sounds very bureaucratic, and I'm wondering who is the "we." I think it should be North Huron may adjust this. I'm not saying that we need to adjust it now, but I think that's an error in style that needs to be addressed right throughout all our human resource policies.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Administration, banner hanging policy. Gary, are you taking care of that or Kathy?
I just don't have a policy in front of me right now, Kathy. Are there any questions on it?
I just have a quick question on it, and that is the mesh screen. In the policy, we specify banners must be made of mesh screen. Just to clarify, there may be other ways of making, and I'm not a banner person.
No,
but
I just,
having a
no,
problem.
I understand that. The reason that we put the mesh was we researched and other municipalities have that same request and what it's to do with the wind. Like I know there are some that have a half moon cut into them, but, well, and I think that there's, we catch a lot of wind here in Wyndham. Yeah, we're windy, so it was just something that we wanted to adopt was the,
I understand the idea of not having a banner right across because, I mean, there is a lot of wind, but I'm just wondering if we're really cornering things down to pricing banners out for different organizations. Just wonder if we could just take that out and just use due diligence when we're allowing it to happen. Your thoughts on that, Kelly?
That I would say the word mesh went in as comparable to a breathable banner, one that wouldn't act like as much like a sail.
that's correct.
And that whether that would be a synonym that could be used.
So my understanding then would be then if they did come with, somebody did come with holes in it and it was a
Well,
problem.
we would have a look at it.
Yeah. Because I know there was a problem when we first put the poles up last year, I understand that, yes.
Yeah, they tried to pull in, so that's, we're trying to
Okay.
address that.
And we'd address that at the time. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Councillor Hallahan?
Yes, should this not cover Blythe too, and Belgrave, this,
Well, North Huron.
Yeah,
We're
they're
taking
all-
all of North Huron.
oh, because it just says here that reaches the.
Well, I believe we only have the poles in Wyndham, like the
Okay,
actual banner poles coming into town.
okay, so there are.
If there was banner poles ever put in place at either of those two places, then it would definitely fall.
Councillor McGowan?
So Kelly, this will not govern then banners that may be attached horizontally to the light stands?
No, this
Okay.
isn't the right, this isn't the same policy.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay. Moving to point 3, Finance and Treasury on the staff report on self-insured short-term disability policy. Donna, do you want to say anything, or
If there's any questions.
questions? Councillor Bailey.
My understanding is we will save $5,000 by going to self-policy. Is that right? That's what we stand on to save on our insurance company?
When we switched to Equitable Life, we stood to save about $26,000 in total on our premium benefits. But what would have happened is that included going to self-insuring this portion of the benefit. If we had have purchased this benefit, it would have cost us $15,000 of that 26. So that's why I'm proposing that we establish a reserve in approximately $15,000 as well, to be able to, as you do with any self-insurance of a benefit, to be able to use that if necessary.
I'm wondering if before we pass this as a bylaw or accept this, if we can find out in the previous year, how many days have been off on short-term disability. If we have to start paying our own staff on short-term disability, plus hire somebody to take their place, we could run into a lot of money in a hurry. And so I just want to reflect back on the past and just see what days have been eaten up on term disability.
Archie?
Just a bit of feedback, I could say that in my own experience, we moved to this a number of years ago because it is such a cost saving on short-term disability. And, I mean, I'm prepared to move ahead with it, but I mean, I think we've had that all reported on as well, the analysis that took place. So,
Like, this isn't new, that we
No.
had this benefit before. It's just that in the prior to December 31st, 2012, we paid that to our insurance company. Yeah, so now all we're doing is self-insuring it and building a reserve to cover the cost of it as well.
So would it be possible then to find out, if we already had this study done, if I could find out in the previous year how many
Kathy, can
sick
you
days
tell?
were, or short-term disability days were eaten up?
Yeah, it's not really comparing apples to oranges though, because every year is different depending on the circumstances, but I can tell you how many claims we had in 2012.
Or even if it's not a big deal, if you could give you 2012 and 2011 and say, this is how many days we used, and then this is how many days we used, and this is what we stand to save on an average, rather than just jump into this with no knowledge.
I mean,
I'm prepared to move it.
it's kind of hard information to gather because that's all paid through the insurance company, but I can tell you how many people were on.
Councillor
The other
McGowan?
thing that you can't really calculate into this is how those short-term disability claims affect the pool, which also affects our rating. So there'd be no way you should be able to compare apples to apples in this regard.
What the Huron County has looked at in this is for what they would have paid, that basically they are half to two-thirds is where the average is of what they would have paid as the premium. That the self-insurance over a number of years for the county has been considerably less than what the insurance premium for that is. So that, I think that's,
It's a long term.
yeah, it's long-term, and you may have years that fluctuate, but you take it over the longer term, it definitely is a saving, and many places definitely have moved forward to it. And that basically with the county, I would say the lower tiers are catching up to what the county's been doing in this for a number of years. Okay?
One last question.
I'd be in favor of supporting the motion.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
I
Well,
thought it
go
was-
down.
Was it somebody move? Was it moved, your worship?
No,
Oh,
it hadn't been.
Okay, I move it then.
Yeah,
Just one other question
Go
for
ahead.
you to Donna. The 15,000 reserve amount, I can't remember if you already reported that, but was that calculated based on historical analysis of claims?
No, that would be what our premium would have been moving
So
to
this
the
is,
new
you're just
company.
moving what you would have paid the premium, and obviously then you'll be doing some analysis on the go forward.
Yes, our goal would be that we would set aside that 15,000 every year. Hopefully not use it, or
Mhm.
whatever is not used stays in the reserve and keeps building for a year in which you had several claims.
Right, okay.
I still say it would be in everyone's best interest if we just took the time and got the information of how many claims. I mean, we can wait 2 weeks, guys. Just see what the claims were, so we can do a financial analysis.
I've done this in my own place of employment, so I don't need to see them, but it's up to council to go down.
Councillor Allen.
So we're administrating, this is like our own insurance, that
Self,
we're administrating
yeah.
ourselves, eh? So the back to work thing, like who decides on that when you go back to work, and when, how this all operates, who runs it?
Well, I administer, but it would be under a doctor's note when people go on and off. So we would have medical, have to have medical leave. But I would be the one administering it.
It's no different than what we had before, it's just we were paying an insurance company to do it and do the administration. So now we are, and paying them the premium, so now we're just keeping the premium and doing the administration ourselves.
It's similar to running a higher deductible on insurance, basically. And that with the short-term disability, it is limited by the short-term disability period.
A lot of companies self-insure drugs as well. You know, it's a pretty common thing these days.
Other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion in favor of doing it. All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
We'll still get you the information.
I was gonna say, I would still like that information.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Okay, moving to recreation and facilities. There's, counselors have a copy of pre-qualification list. Pat, you want to go over that?
Yes, I apologize, it wasn't in the package, but with the timing of the collection of the people and such, we were not able to get this data completed until today. There were 11 companies that applied to be pre-qualified for the restoration project on the Township North Huron Hall. And after our consultant had an opportunity to review all 11, he is recommending the 9 on the list that I have distributed have the experience and capacity to complete the work that we are asking them to do. So the next step would be those 9 would be sent the tender package as soon as it's ready, and they would be eligible to quote. So we now know that when we receive a quote, we're confident that anyone from that list of 9 has the capacity, experience, and knowledge to do the project, and we feel comfortable with them. So we're just going to be comparing price to price when we get the quotes in. The 2 that were disqualified were not local, but they did not have the relevant heritage experience that our consultant was looking for in a project of this scope. So he eliminated those from the list and is recommending these 9. I'm looking for a motion from council to accept this pre-qualification list for the project.
Councillor McGowan moves. Councillor Vaughn seconded. Any further questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay, point. Oh, okay.
When would the tender bids be ready to go out? Like the information be ready to go? Is it ready to go now, or?
We're targeting for week today or Tuesday of next week to get that package out to these groups.
Okay.
And I just simply wanted to add that the advertisement to pre-qualification bidders went in the local papers as well as in the industry ad. I'm trying to remember the name of it, it's escaped me, but for the construction industry. So there was a good circulation of the opportunity for groups to bid. No, it was Construction Daily News. Thank you.
Okay, moving to point 5, Water Department report. Carmen Harris, Dawn, do you have a comment on that, please?
There's just a few things. The letter, the notice that's going out for the commencement of the environmental assessment, if there's any comments or any content from there you want to add, subtract it, whatever, it's okay. Nothing. And we've done some moving down to the Wing Water, the water meter replacement program. We've done some preliminary testing, and it's showing about 2% of the meters are not picking up the low flows, just due to minerals, more iron and so forth building up in the meters. So at this point, it kind of looks preliminary. It looks like we should probably continue that for the next number of years to get some new meters in town here. And as well, like the Carlin Terrace, I don't know whether there was any questions about what we have in mind for down there. The long and short of it, normally when we do construct a street, we just take the sanitary sewers to property line and then we stop. And there's been a number of streets where we've done that, and problems still arise from the house out to the property line, in which we end up helping out as much as we can, but we end up getting involved even though it's on private property through sewer cammering and kind of helping people along with that. So this way here, it's going to be new right from the trunk sewer to the house, and any of the sewers that we've done pipers on thus far, we have not had to call back. We've got about 30 or 35 of them now, and it works really well. So anyway, I don't know again whether that was just a draft letter that I'd sent out, whether there's any feedback from that. If it's okay.
And you would like a motion to adopt that report?
Yes.
On the Carlin Terrace work? Or all of it?
Yeah, those were kind of draft letters. Like they may change just slightly if you, I guess, if we get a motion to accept the report, then the principal content of those letters won't change that much if there's no comment. And so.
Further questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried?
And unless there's anything else, that was all.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Or was that information at this time?
It was kind of just a draft letter. I was kind of looking just for comments,
Okay.
but if there's no, if it's all right the way it is, then possibly we could get a motion then to distribute the letter as presented in the report then.
I've gone over it.
Is there any questions on, or comments on the Carlin Terrace sanitary report?
The only comment I was gonna ask through to Don is, like, some ratepayers might be a little overwhelmed by some of that. It might not make a lot of sense. Do you think it's?
Well, every one that we're going to be replacing, first off, we'll distribute the letter and see what kind of interest there is, and the ones that are interested, we need to go in and actually camera their sewers to see what kind of shape they're in and that kind of thing, just to even show the homeowners, whether, like, there might be some that don't need replaced, but chances are they're not. So at that point in time, we'll be visiting every residence in the affected area anyway, so we can answer the questions at that point.
I'm comfortable with that, as it is in the motion.
Okay, got that here. Okay, business arising from previous meetings. The Asable Bayfield, Maitland Valley Source Protection Region re-update on source water protection for 2013. One thing that I thought maybe we should be asking is David Blaney, that is part of that committee representing this municipality as well as Huron East and Morris Turnberry, possibly asking the CAO to contact David about coming and possibly giving us a report on some of his experience with it and just basically catching up and the opportunity to question him on some of the process if we're unsure of how it really happened.
I thought we'd already done that, but it's a good idea, I think.
Okay, get that under direction. Okay, if there's nothing else there, moving to new business, Wingham BIA, there's all these different points. Who wants to lead that? Gary?
Just with respect to the establishment of a board of management, I think technically we are required to, the council, pass a motion to formally establish a board of management. But I don't believe that this bylaw has been finalized, so it is not part of your package tonight. That being said, all of the other items that are listed are within the council package, and we would appreciate your consideration and approval of those items.
There's a bylaw, 33, 2013, that has to do with the Board of Management.
There is, yes, but I don't believe it's part of your package.
Oh, it's just listed, I see it. Okay, sorry.
The Board of Management is responsible for overseeing the planning, budgeting, implementing, and evaluating BIA projects. I'm just going to point number 2, if I may read.
Okay.
Council should have a list of the 2013 Board of Management officers for the Wingham BIA for your consideration.
Okay. Motion to accept that Councillor Bailey and Deputy Reeve Reach to approve point 2.
That would just be to authorize and approve
Yeah.
the appointment of the executive.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. The next thing is the procedural bylaw.
Just a quick question, can we just put a motion forward to pass that off, or work something else?
I guess I would prefer council discussion,
Okay.
if any, on each individual item.
No problem.
Yes, especially when we hold one off for another meeting already. So, the procedural bylaw, would I have a mover? I'm taking Campbell and McGowan. All those in favor? Carried. The Constitution, mover. Councillor Hallahan and Councillor McGowan. All in favor? Carried. Purchasing policy, Deputy Reeve and Councillor Bailey. All in favor? Carried. The Human Resources Policy, do I have a mover? Councillor Vauden, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Carried. And the 2013 budget.
Move it for discussion.
Okay, McGowan and Bailey. Go ahead.
Question through you to Councillor Bailey, who I believe is the council rep. Has
Yes.
this budget already been approved by the DIA committee?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, any further questions or comments on the budget? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay, moving to point 2 in the new business, Musical Muskrat Festival request for support in making the application to the LCBO for a special occasion permit to hold a beer garden at Riverside Park on June 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2013, in conjunction with the annual festival, and further requests the council proclaim the event of municipal significance.
So moved.
Councillor McGowan, Councillor Allahan.
Can I ask one question, Richard?
Okay,
Through you to Pat. I understand the liquor inspector was up not too long ago for a meeting with a number of different groups. The situation with these kinds of events, I take it that not a lot has changed with these. It's primarily with the Buck and Does and...
The type of special occasions permit that they're applying for has changed, so it used to be a festivals permit, now it's a public SOP, but their ability to operate under it and everything like that is pretty much the same. This is a step they require to get that special designation of a public SOP. Council has to approve that.
Same as it used to be, like any of the other permit. They used to require a declaration of a community festival.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. Yep.
Trevor, did you have anything?
I just had, if anybody had any questions about the actual festival, I could answer anything that they had, but that's where we're at right now, so.
Well, thank you for your attendance, and glad you're working at it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor? Carried. Point 3, drainage superintendent. We need a motion appointing Kelly Church as drainage superintendent, recognizing that Kelly has received the appropriate training. Councillor Campbell, Councillor Vodden. All those in favor? Carried. Congratulations.
Did you want to make a speech?
Say thanks for the extra work.
Water brought up, Phil?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Moving to the council information. And I guess the correspondence could be included in there. Councilor McGowan?
I have a question on the accounts.
Okay. Go ahead.
So on page number 5 of the accounts, there's a check for $10,000 for Frank Cowan. Just if you could clarify what that's for.
Yeah, that's a, this is a insurance claim, we have a $10,000 deductible, and this is an insurance claim regarding a building matter. I think it was deferred on the last month's agenda.
This is an older claim.
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
okay.
Back
Thank
to
you.
when we were under Frank Cowan, so
Yeah.
we'll continue to follow through the process under
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Right.
I have on page 3 here, the insurance company.
Chartis?
Yeah, Chartis.
Yes.
What's that for now, 8,000?
That's the VIFAS insurance for the firefighters.
Oh, okay. Okay, then I have another one, Doug Culver, on page 4, for surveying. Now, is that, we get that money back, do we? The 1,400
Yes, we will.
do. Okay.
Perfect.
Any other points there? Councillor Vaughn?
I have a comment on number 3, the annual letter that we received. If you recall, we raised this issue in a previous meeting where the feeling was that we weren't being adequately represented for our rural issues in terms of the work that AMA was doing on our behalf. And we received this letter in reply. And it's pretty vague in terms of not specifying what it is they're doing. They are talking to the province, but I'm not sure what they're saying. What I would like to do, with council's permission, is try to set up a dialogue with the 3 groups that they refer to that are working on rural land use policies and school closure policy and rural transportation, to find out what it is they're doing so that we can keep informed about this. It might be better to have a letter come from council rather than an individual, but I'm easy on which way we would approach. But I think we need to contact these people in some way and find out whether they are really looking after the issues that we see. We have our 2 bits worth in terms of suggesting what they should be looking at.
In speaking to the 3 points, so that I see that there's a fair division between each of them, so that it may be a letter for each of those as to all the work on that subject being done.
Actually, what I was suggesting is that we write to the lady who wrote the letter to us, the director of policy, and ask her to give us a contact in each of those arenas.
Okay, that would be good. That can be taken under direction. And in speaking to point number 2, Janice growing up in North Huron, that she does a very good job in trying to promote the nutritious food basket, and that there's a number of things such as the good food box that comes every month to those that order it, and that there's a certain amount of training that is being done. It's between the ones in the community health unit and social services on trying to train a certain number of, I'll say, younger ones that maybe never learned to cook, and that how to basically get along and buy raw ingredients and prepare nutritious meals, so that I would give credit to Janice and the other ones in the health unit working on nutritious food and how to put meals together that are nutritious and cost effective. Yeah.
And I was informed that Janice would be available to attend a future council meeting to make a presentation to council, so desired. Just that one.
I'd be agreeable to that. I think we should invite her.
Okay, we probably should do that by motion.
Okay, I'll
So
make that
that's
motion.
moved. Do we have a seconder?
No second.
Deputy Reeve. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Anything else out of that, or receive, read, and file? And Councillor McGowan and Councillor Wadden. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Moving to the committee reports. It's just for information, isn't it?
Yes.
Is there any questions on the health and safety? Okay, moving to the Blythe Business Improvement Area. Any questions or comments? Dave?
It's all in the minutes.
Okay. Point 3, Wingham BIA. Questions or comments?
It's all in the minutes.
Take your word for it.
One
Councilor McGowan?
question. I know that our treasurer went to the Wingham Business Improvement Association to make a budgetary presentation. I just wondered, both Councilor Bailey's here, I believe Mr. Enders is in the gallery who attended the meeting. I wondered if we could get some feedback on how that was, how the people that were in attendance at the meeting found the presentation, whether it was informative or there was more information required, and Donna can chime in as well.
I think the main thing is, like, I was trying to stay in around 45 minutes, and that's it's not really enough time. But anyway, it was a good opportunity for me to make an introduction about the budget process to the group, and just to, as I said to them, I'm really looking forward to having them as a sounding board, and to be able to work with them on certain projects and things that I need to get some feedback from the public. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's a bit overwhelming to pass all of that on and such. I was talking so fast that I was like, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I certainly couldn't go into the detail that I would have liked to, but I hope it was at least a good first step. So I'm not sure if they have any comments or not.
Murray?
I think it was a great opportunity, and it was well received, and there was quite a crowd showed up for it. And it gave everybody an idea of where their money's spent and how it's spent, exactly how it's spent. Gave them the opportunity now and as they move forward to ask any questions they want to. No, I think you did a great job, Donna, and I really appreciate the time, and I know that WBIA does too. It's the more we get together and the more we talk about things, the better things will work out in the long run.
I have nothing else to add. Exactly as Bernie suggests, the members of the BIA were pleased with what they heard, I think, and there were some questions raised and answers given, and it was good discussion all around. So good information.
Well, as long as they know that Donna will work with them, any questions they think of in the future, definitely feel free to have the BIA bring anything forward if they're questioning how the financial things work. Thank you.
I'd like to add a comment.
Oh, okay.
It seems to me that every year when the budget time comes up, it always seems that there's a very short, tiny window of opportunity for anybody to influence what's going into the budget. It seems to me that we should help the public out by suggesting that they go to last year's budget, because the next year's budget is going to be very much the same in many ways. It gives them lots of opportunity to look at what the priorities were and where the money went and how they'd like to change from that, rather than trying to get all of their changes and suggestion in on that little window that we have when we have to get the budget passed in order to carry on business. So I'd like to see our general public, especially those who are dissatisfied with the way their taxes are and the way the expenditures are, to start earlier in the process and look at this year, the current budget, and find out what they think could be changed in that, and get an understanding of why the budget is the way it is at the present time.
Also, if I could just pass on, so we've also posted a YouTube video on our website with the highlights of the budget presentation. I'm not sure if anybody's had an opportunity to look at it, but it's not all the whole detail that I gave to the BIA, but it's just a quick version of the highlights.
It is well done, very well done.
Something new to try. We'll try something else next year.
Well, thank you very much, Donna. Okay. I guess moving on to bylaws. Bylaw number 29, 2013, being a bylaw to authorize the Township of North Huron to execute and affix the corporate seal to authorize the agreement for fire suppression services with the municipality of Morris Turnberry.
First, second, third.
Second that.
Okay. Questions or comments?
I don't know if this is the right time to make this comment or not. I could make it here or in the council input later. I think it's really unfortunate that the impression that has gone out to the public is that North Huron has cut its costs, its fees way down. And we've always said that we are offering our fire services at cost. So the implication of that is that we're going way below our costs, and North Huron Huron is picking up the tab for our neighboring municipalities, which of course is not true. And I'm concerned about, when I see the editorial that came out in the Citizen of last week, it says North Huron taxpayers will pick up a little more of the cost for their fire department, which is not true. Our costs, everybody's costs went down. With a lower tide, all the boats are lower. So it's misleading and it's unfortunate. I don't think it's entirely their fault that they haven't got the numbers correct, but it's given just the wrong impression. And I want to assure North Huron taxpayers that the fire service costs are not going up because we're giving things away to our neighbors. I think we should be on record as stating that clearly.
Councilor McGowan.
I think it's just important to keep it in context of the January Belgrade meeting, in which we spoke to our partners about the analysis that we went back to the budget and analyzed it, and the fact that there was 5-year capital costs that had been built in for capital replacement that hadn't been in very good shape, and gave them a number of reasons why the numbers initially had been a little bit higher, and showed them projected what it was going to look like over the next 10 years. After that analysis had taken place, and those numbers had been reviewed by an outside party as well, and I think you've got to keep the two in context, because that's what tells the whole story.
Well, personally, that basically, it isn't just North Huron and Morris Turnberry. There's 2 other customers as well, being Central Huron and ACW. And yes, there was a lot of work going over, and it was looked at from every direction possible, and it definitely is an at cost for the operational section. The thing of it is, North Huron does take care of the fire halls, so that we have extra costs there. We knew that going in, and having the operations at a top quality level was the thing that the council of the day looked at, and that we believed we had to have the fire service be able to meet all the current provincial legislation. So that, thank you very much for the ones on this council as well as the ones on the previous council that worked on having that done. I think this is definitely a good news story in that we are doing it at a high level for the very lowest cost that we feel that we can get away with.
And I think it would be prudent to send along a thank you to our neighbors and partners in Morris Turnberry, thanking them for their patience through the process, and that we look forward to working with them in the years to come.
Okay. That's direction. Any further comments or? Just the direction is for the letter. All those in favor of carried? Okay, moving to point 2, bylaw number 30, 2013, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of North Huron to authorize the sale of lands. Part 1 on 22R6033, part of Lot 1, east of Josephine Street, registered plan 414, Town of Wingham.
First, second, third.
Deputy Reeve and Councillor Bailey. Any discussion?
So this was the property declared surplus, and it was advertised, and we've gone through all the
Yes.
steps. Okay.
All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 31, 2013, being a bylaw to appoint a drainage superintendent pursuant to the Drainage Act, RSO 1990. Being Kelly Church that we're,
So moved, first, second, third.
Councillor Vaughn, Councillor Hallahan. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 32, 2013, being a bylaw for the purposes of levying and collecting rates for various purposes and provide for the payment of taxes and to provide for penalty and interest.
First, second, third.
Councillor Campbell, Councillor McGowan. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Moving to bylaw number 34, 2013, being a bylaw to establish the rules of order, regulation and procedures for the Wingham Business Improvement Area Board of Management and for the committee of the Wingham Business Improvement Area Board of Management. Councillor Bailey
First,
moves.
second.
Councillor McGowan seconds. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 35, being a bylaw to implement a minimum and maximum charge for the Wingham Business Improvement Area.
First, second, third.
Councillor Vaughn, Deputy Reeve Reach. All in favor? Carried. Donna?
Okay. I just wanted to provide a little bit more information on that, and the gentlemen are here from the BIA. In an effort to ensure fairness in regard to the levy for the BIA, they have chosen to implement the minimum and maximum charges, and so the minimum there is 150 and the maximum is 350, and so both of those will be adjusted annually by the Ontario Consumer Price Index. And really the reason for that is if the budget doesn't change, it really doesn't have that much effect. But there's about 42, there's about approximately 115 business owners who will receive the BIA levy, and all but about 42 are either at the minimum or the maximum, so their amounts would not change. Now with the assessments going up, and if there happened to be any change in the budget, that would fall to that group in the middle. So by adding at least the consumer price index to the 150 and 350, it keeps everything in fairness and moving up in a reasonable level. So I just wanted to provide clarification on that. The second one is, again, also in trying to ensure a fairness amongst the group and to make sure that, that the affordability was their main goal, that what they have done is implemented a multi-unit levy where the owner would be billed one minimum bill for each separate tenant that's calculated on the number of eligible tenants. So the owner is required to give the municipality a listing of their tenants, and so however many tenants that they say they have, there would be one minimum levy per tenant issued on the owner's bill. So again, that's a little bit of a different approach. But for example, down at the plaza, if they didn't implement this measure, the plaza would say, for example, receive a total levy of $350, but there were seven tenants down there. So in this regard, it would be 7 times 150 would be the levy for that particular building. So it's just a bit of a clarification there, just to, as I said, to ensure the fairness element to the minimum and maximum levy. Now this is a different approach. There really hasn't been any other BIA adopt that levy, but as I said, the situations here are different than what, like Blythe doesn't have any of those, so they didn't consider that. So is there any questions on that? Just wanted to make sure that's clear, and I don't know if you BIA folks have any comments.
I think she explained it better than we could, so.
Okay, there you
Great.
go. Okay, thank you very much. And again, thanks for your trust.
Okay. Bylaw number 36, 2013, being a bylaw to adopt the Wing Business Improvement Area Constitution.
First, second, and third.
Councillor Hallahan, Deputy Reeve Reach. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 37, being a bylaw to adopt the Wingham Business Improvement Area Purchasing Policy.
First, second, and third.
Councillor Bailey and Councillor Campbell. All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 38, 2013, being a bylaw to adopt the Wingham Business Improvement Area Human Resources Policy.
First, second, and third.
Councillor McGowan, Councillor Vaughn. All in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you. Moving to council reports and inquiries. Councillor Vaughn.
I had a lot of comments from people in the Blythe Board and elsewhere on the costs that are incurred with the landfill site, the Blythe Hullet landfill site, which is now closed. Donna has provided me with a costing for 2012, over $35,000. And as we know, the landfill is closed. We still have an ongoing responsibility for it in a financial sense, even though we aren't using it. And the questions that I'm getting from people is very serious doubt that a lot of the engineering that's being done every year on that is totally unnecessary. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not an engineer, but I attend the meetings, and it seems rather strange that they seem to be concerned about leaching of products down through the soil and the water table. But it's as far as I could tell, it's nearly all salt, and salt is not a hazardous material. There's lots of salt coming off the roads that are adjacent to the last 2 or 3 wells that they just drilled this past year. And the question is, why are they doing all of that drilling? Is it necessary? And it's very difficult for us non-engineers to question what engineers are doing. We almost have to hire another engineering firm to question the engineers there, then we'd have more costs. But this is a large chunk of money. We budgeted $40,000 for that last year, and we spent over $35,000 on a number of engineering ventures and that's just our share. Central Huron is paying a larger share than we are. And I think it's time that we do some questioning of the value of all this work, questioning whether it's necessary or not. Possibly we should be talking to Central Huron and getting their take on this. But otherwise, it seems like a very, very large bill, and I think it's just due diligence that we look into it. It may be absolutely necessary. I know the Ministry of Environment require a lot of reports and things, and they have to be done. They have to be done by engineers. I understand that. But I just wonder if it makes sense to drill 2 or maybe 3 wells right beside the road where they're sprinkling salt all the time to find out how much salt's getting in. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
And I wholeheartedly concur on that. To get the North Huron, Central Huron agreement on scheduling and how things might happen, there was another engineer brought in, and he actually was very good in basically stating what had to be done and what would eventually have to be done in closing. And for those that aren't aware of it, that North Huron decided not to put any more material in it. Available capacity was calculated, and if Central Huron uses it, it's a sliding scale as to the percentage that it would be the municipality that put the garbage in would pay the proportional percentage of closing costs when it is finally and officially closed. Councillor Campbell?
Is part of this 30, and I don't know, is part of this 35,000 part of the closing costs, or is that just?
No.
No.
Are we still putting money away for the closing cost of that?
What we do, sorry, Pam.
Donna, please.
Sorry. What we do, as Brock had pointed out, is that, for example, we budgeted 40,000, the costs were just over 35, so we transferred the 4,000 some dollar difference into a reserve, and we've always done that if there's been any, if there was any under expenditure of the year, but I mean, that's a pittance, but still, we try to put something away every year for it.
So how much do we have in reserves at this point?
We have about 80,000 right now.
Rob?
There's another aspect of this. I started some time ago, before I got sick, to do some research into the ancient history of that landfill site, and haven't had time to get back into it, but I'm hoping in the next week or so to be able to get back into that. I'm trying to get back to the time when, before amalgamation, where this was a joint venture between Blythe and Hullett Township. There are all kinds of rumors around about a court case where the operators of the landfill wanted to stop accepting certain tannery byproducts, and some people say it was actually went to court. Others say, well, it was threatening to go to court, but it was a settlement out of court, and there were lawyers involved and so on. I don't know what the truth is, but I'd like to get back into those minutes and find out what really happened back in those days. Because at the last meeting that we had with the engineers, they were talking about the possibility of our having to buy all the farms surrounding that landfill because we polluted them. And who's liable for that? And I mean, I think that's a worst case scenario, but still it was a serious part of the conversation.
And from my experience in previous term of council, and when there was part of the current deal for percentages on a final closure, that former CAO Chris Snell and his father would be instrumental to the committee as to the original information and how things sort of just happened with the Blythe Hullett landfill, and that would be an excellent resource.
I can't make a motion, I don't know where to proceed, but I think that we need to look into this in some way and come up with a plan of action.
Councilor McGowan?
Did I hear you say, I know this has been going on for a number of years, I don't know whether a peer review has ever taken place, but that might be one option. We have the engineering assessments that are being done, peer reviewed, to see whether they are over what's necessary or not, as a first step.
And we might
as a first step, should we be the letter to Central Huron to see if they are of the same mind to
Yes,
look
absolutely.
at that? Fashioning that into a motion. Okay.
Okay, I'll have Gary factor that into an emotion.
An emotion.
Seconder? Councillor McGowan.
Sure.
Any further comments from other councillors? All in favor? Carried. Other points? Deputy Mayor.
Well, when we're talking about landfill sites, we're still running the East Wawanas site, and I know it's a tender issue, but I wonder if we should have a summary of the costs of operating and maintaining the East Wawanas site, and the ongoing costs for in the future. Is it worth maintaining it, and is it a cost-effective site to maintain?
Kelly, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'm still working on those numbers, but I will have them present to council, and I said, let you make that decision.
So that is already underway?
Yes.
Okay. Others?
I have
Councillor
a
McGowan?
small issue, it's not really a landfill issue, but I guess it could be. I've had a number of concerns brought to my attention around the Wingham ward with regards to flyer delivery. Not the fact that they're getting it. I understand the Signal Star, I think, is involved with delivery of flyers. Not the fact that they don't want the flyers, but the fact that in some areas of town, they are put into some kind of a plastic bag or something. In other areas of town, they're blowing all over the place and becoming a real nuisance. A number of ratepayers have talked to me about their concerns about having to constantly go out and clean the flyers up from, their gardens and everywhere else. And I wonder, just in order that we're trying to keep the municipality looking nice, could a letter be sent to Signal Star asking them if they can ensure that the flyers are being delivered in some type of a plastic bag that'll keep them from blowing all over town and making a mess. And I don't know what it's like in the other board.
Councillor Wyden on the same subject?
The last few weeks, our flyers have been coming with an elastic band around, and
Even
that seems to work quite well.
Councillor Campbell?
I'm not even sure if the Signal Star is looking after this one.
As I said, I don't know for sure. At one point, it was the Signal Star. I don't know who does it
Yes,
now.
but I don't think it is.
Oh.
Do we have the
Do we have
correct
the answer?
knowledge at the back corner of the room?
Maybe not correct if I might answer, but Signal Star and Metroland both put out packages of flyers. And I believe the Signal Star, some of their carriers do put theirs in plastic bags, we do not.
I wasn't sure if this.
Well, I know
That would
I
be
do know
one-
there's two batches that come. There's one that's the plus, and then on a different day, there's a whole pile of flyers from different stores, which is great. Just whatever, any idea of elastic band actually might be the easiest. Just something to give them, because otherwise the wind just picks them up and throws them all over the place. It makes a real mess.
That I personally get 2 batches of flyers, all in the same plastic bag. And I'm not sure on the recycling in North Huron. I know in the municipality to the east of us, I know that as the flyers are left in the door, a number of people put them right to the big recycling bin beside it.
That's their right.
That's what I do.
That's fine. I mean, there are a lot of ratepayers. They weren't complaining about the fact that they were getting them. They like to get them to know what the sales are, but they just don't like having to clean them up or go outside and they're in their neighbor's yards, they're flying down the street, they're just making a real mess.
So, do you have direction on that? Should it be by motion or not? Okay, direction taken. Other points? Comments, inquiries? Okay, moving to the clerk administrator's report.
Okay, thank you, Reeve. Just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the members of the senior management team and North Huron staff for pulling together and establishing a warming center late Friday afternoon as a result of the power outage that impacted North Huron residents and the entire region. There was also steps taken to set up a bus transportation from Blythe and Belgrade, and we were also ready to set up the ESTC as a warming center if the situation worsened. So there were a lot of staff and a lot of directors involved in putting that together on short notice. I just wanted to thank and acknowledge North Huron staff for that contribution. Thank you.
Thank you on behalf of council.
Last Wednesday, I met with Central Huron CAO Peggy Van Mierlo West to discuss the North Huron Central Huron Fire Agreement, which expires at the end of this year. Central Huron, through their CAO, have requested some additional information, and I'll work with our acting fire chief to obtain that information. And Peggy is planning to take a report to Central Huron Council over the next month or so. I feel it was a very positive meeting, and I'm hopeful that we can conclude a long-term agreement with Central Huron, just as you did with Morris Turnbull. Just a reminder that the Southwest Economic Alliance 2013 conference is taking place in Goderich, June 13th and 14th. And it's the first time that a SWEA conference has been held in a small urban, small rural setting. Typically these conferences take place in Windsor and London and Guelph and Stratford. So I think it's significant that it's being held in Goderich and it's in Huron County. It'd be great to have some council representation at that conference.
Possibly if you mentioned what the registration process is, if councillors want to register, I'll be getting back to you to have it done.
Sure, I'd be happy, along with our Director of Corporate Services, to help with the registration.
Good.
I just wanted to turn the floor over to the Director of Recreation Facilities.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that we're having an event at the Wingham complex. It's a collaboration with Knights of Columbus, the North Huron community, and everybody. It's the Swinging in Wingham, and it's a kickboxing event that we're going to be hosting on May 11th, and it's real kickboxing, sanctioned fighting on the arena floor, and tickets are available at the Blythe Festival box office, through the TKO Fighting Arts, from the Knights of Columbus Center. The Knights of Columbus will be having the bar on the floor. It's open to youth and adults. And it's featuring a local hometown fighter, Justin Holden. So it's going to be a big event, and we just got these posters on the weekend, so we'll be sending this out as a PDF and getting it circulated. But I understand they're going to be also getting ads on the radio and things to start to promote it. I did make some black and white copies of that. We only got a handful of these if anybody wants to take one.
The dates in big
Yes.
letters, what time?
Doors open at 6. The first bell rings at 7 p.m. And it's on Saturday, May 11th. So it's a new event, and we're excited about it. And I believe they're looking to sell about 600 tickets for the floor. So there could be real blood and stuff. So I know my boys are excited. Thank you.
I just wanted to turn it over to the Director of Finance for the report.
Could you pass those that way? Ray, would you mind passing these, please? Okay, so late on Friday after 4 o'clock, we received a news release from AMO in regard to the 2010 OMPF reconciliation and future uncertainty. So I haven't had much time to do any more research on this. But basically what the gist of it is that AMO is disappointed that the government's plan to discontinue the reconciliation of the OMPF payment for 2011 and beyond. And the reconciliation is always a couple of years behind, and if you recall, in 2009, our reconciliation payment was about $58,000. For 2010, it's not as high, it's actually only about $6,600, which we will likely receive fairly shortly. But there's a couple of problems that, in addition to, of course, our reduced funding, as you all know, our OMPF allocation was reduced by 32,000 this year, and that is to be continued over the next few years as well for a reduction. But a couple of things, the one thing that I haven't been able to find out at this point yet is whether that also applies to the credits. So, for example, for the policing costs for the Blythe and the East Wawanosh ward, those costs are area rated. And so the reconciliation is always about 6 months behind. But what has happened there, for example, in the 2013 budget, the estimate that we got was $222,000. But when you go to our area rating page for placing for Blythe and East Wawanosh, you would have noticed that it was considerably less than that. And the reason was that we received a $35,000 credit from the reconciliation from the year before. So the costs were actually quite a bit lower than what we paid, and so they gave us a reconciliation. So I'm quite anxious to find out whether we will still be entitled to those reconciliation payments, and I haven't been able to find that out as yet. The second point that I would also like to do some research on, and for the moment it's not imminent, but you have discussed at several occasions expanding the level of service, for example, in Blythe and East Wawanosh, and you looked at recently implementing an OPP contract, which you did not do, but that would have resulted in increased services, but there also would have been increased costs for that. Basically, what this is telling me is that if you had implemented that, you would not have received now any further OMPF funding in correlation with those increased costs. So when considering in the future, I believe that this is going to be a point to have on the table when you consider expanding any costs relating to policing, because it doesn't look like you're going to be eligible for any additional funding. So if you leave that with me, as I said, this just came in late on Friday, and I haven't had a chance to get any answers back on some of those questions, but it's definitely something that we're going to be discussing as we go forward. Okay.
Thank you for your work on that. We appreciate getting any further information as it becomes available.
Okay.
Thank you, Donna.
I had two items for in camera. One would be identifiable individual, BIAX owner. And secondly, I have a labor relations employee negotiations SMT position.
Okay. Thank you. Moving to the public gallery, questions and or comments? Nothing?
Danny, are you okay?
I got lots of comments, but.
Oh, all right.
Well, if there's no questions or comments, ask for a motion to be in camera. Councillor Callahan, Councillor McGowan, all in favor? Have a short recess now?